this video, I'll be covering the condition element within FetchXml. Now, once you start writing FetchXml statement, you may need to implement some sort of a condition by performing a check against a multiple variables, or maybe checking against a column, or maybe checking against a value or value of. Now there are various things through which you can perform. So under condition, you have an attribute of attribute, value of operator, and then operator can be of different type, like equal, not equal, greater than equal, less than equal, in. So there are like various things which you can find. Now, condition, there are condition with no parameter. So this is an example. So condition with no parameter means, like, if you want to check the condition that if the owner id is the current logged in user. Okay, so owner id equal to user id. So here you are just checking a condition with no specific parameter. So the first three items are the attribute which you want to retrieve, but condition will always come under that filter tag. Okay, so you need to have a filter tag, and then within that you need to specify the condition. Now this condition is like you're specifying an attribute, and then you're telling that operator is eq-userid. Similarly, you can also check if the user belongs to a team, or if a user belongs to that specific business unit. So by this, you can get that value retrieved from the system. Then we have condition with a single parameter. So if you want to check if someone's email address is equal to something or ends with. So in this case, I want to check if people's email address ends with the value com. So this is how you write. So first three attributes. So any attribute you specify to retrieve, and then you put a filter condition. So filter and then condition, and then you specify against what attribute you are comparing. So here you have two operations. So basically, you have attribute one, which is, and then the operator, and then this is that value. Now in my previous example, we had attribute and then we just had operation. Okay, and that's why I say it is a single parameter. Now if you have multiple parameters, then you can put this way. So again, whatever attribute you want, just show. Then under filter, and within that filter condition, you specify the values. Now this example is between. So I have a number of total aircraft. So I'll say I want to get a list of the airlines who has an which has an aircraft between 200 and 400. So I've specified these values, right? So I put two values, and I said, oh, give me the value between 200 and 400. So I'm going to show this all this thing in an example. So let me show in action. So this is the model driven app which I have created. It has a list of airlines, and it has some fields like total aircraft, total staff, uh, airline description, currency, so on and so forth. So I'm going to make use of XRM toolbox tool. So this is the XRM toolbox tool. Now here I have fetch XML builder, the tool which I have already installed. So I'm going to make use of that. So let me click on new query to the tab. The first one, entity. Here I'm gonna pick the entity which I have already created. So the entity name is airlines. Now if I run this, it will list all the airlines, okay, with all the columns. Now there are so many columns, but the name of the airlines you will see somewhere in between over here. So this is the list of all the airlines. Now if I just want to see only the airline name, I will just select here, click on attribute, and I'll say I just want to see the name, and this is how it will show. So just the name. Now let's filter this further. Let's start putting some condition around it. Now the first one which we so I'll go with one by one. So first, let's go from an email address perspective. Now I need to show the email address as well. So let me add the attribute, and let me call this as email address. And then you should be able to see the email address. So this is the email address. Now some email address exist, and some email address does not exist. Now if I write a query in such a way that I want to get the email address ending with com, com, then what I need to do is, like, if I click on this, then you do not get any option over here. But if you click on entity, then you have an option to add a filter. So I'll add a filter, and filter has this condition, and the condition is specify the attribute. I'll say email, and email address equal to something. I can directly check, or maybe I will just say, let me show you the XML as well. So this is that fetch XML. So I have this couple of attribute which I'm showing over here. Then I'm putting a filter condition, and this time I'm setting operator equal to. So I can directly say abcd@def.com. I want to check that record. Or if you want to find out if ends with, so there is a operator ends with, and you just say com. And once you do that and execute this, you should be able to see only the email address which ends with com. So anywhere which is blank, it will all disappear. There are other options which you can put equal to. So if I click equal to, it will be eq. If I select not equal to, then it becomes any. Then there are other operations like in, null, not null, begins with, does not begins with, contains, does not contain, like, not like, between, and all those things. Right now, it all depends on the data type. Now, if I have a another data type, so instead of email, if I just say total aircraft, so total aircraft which is of type integer. Now here in integer I can just say give me the records for which the total aircraft is uh, some value. Okay, so here it's a total aircraft. So let me select this. So total aircraft, or maybe total staff, I can pick any value. So let me pick up total aircraft, and is greater than, say value is say 500. So it will only list down all the aircraft greater than 500. So now this is the value I'm getting. But if you want to see the airlines, which airlines it has, so let me pick up the attribute and then just specify the name. And I can also move this up. So I'll just say move up, and execute this. So then it will show me name of the airlines and the total aircraft along with the email address. Now email address does not exist, and this is how the fetch XML will look like. So if you put a condition around it, here we are passing one parameter. Now the one parameter which you see over here is we are telling give me the aircraft which is greater than 500. Alternatively, if I say I want to see the list of airlines for which the aircraft is between 200 to 300, yes, I can go ahead and do that. So go to the condition over here, and I'll say total aircraft, but instead of greater than, I'll say between the value. Okay, so I'll say between what value? So between 200 and 300. So I'll just put one value over here. So if you see over here, and then if you expand this, so between 500 and 200. Now I can change this value. I'll just say between say 300 and 200. And then this is how the fetch XML will be formed. Click on execute, and then it will give me the output. Okay, now as you see over here, this value has not come anything. So let me pick up a value 200 to maybe 400, execute it, and then you will see the value total aircraft 231, 245, 340. So make sure that this value is properly framed. So it's now 200 and 400. Now if I just make this as 400 and make this as 200 and execute it, it will not return any value. So make sure that the lower number you type in first. So I'll just type in the first value, and then I'll type in the larger number, and then execute it, and then let me show you the fetch XML. This is how you set that value. Now the third one, condition with no parameter. So that also we can do. Now here in that condition, so let me delete this condition now. Let me delete the filter itself. So I'll delete the filter. Let me execute this. It will show you all the name, email, and total aircraft. But this time I'm gonna add a filter. Filter has a condition, and condition here I can say, now this record has been created by someone, right? So I can say if say owner, so there is a field called as supervisor, and then there is a field called as owner, right? If you see owner or owning business unit, so if I select owner, owner equal, maybe, let me see if I can type in someone's name. And also I will show you the fetch xml code for this, so you can do a lookup. So here for a user table, I'm just trying to find out Girish. So this is the name Girish. I'll say okay, and owner equal Girish. And if you see the fetch XML, the condition owner ID equal the GUID of that user. And if I execute this, then this is the result. Now, if I say I want different user, I don't want Girish. So let me see the record created by say Alex. And I don't think so any record Alex has created. Oh, Alex has created a couple of records. So Air India and Air New Zealand. So yes, Alex is the owner for that. Now, how do we verify whether this is correct or not? Go over here, go to Air India, and now you will see the owner as Alex. Now, if I change the owner to Girish, then that record should not appear for Alex. So here, there should be only one record, Air New Zealand. So as you see over here, it has taken that condition. Now, from an XML perspective, you will see that the filter condition attribute is owner ID and the value is this, and this is how you have specified a single condition. Similarly, you can also search if the owner is equal to uh, or not equal to, or in or not in, or null or not ill, or equal business ID, or user hierarchy, or user teams, or equal to a user team. So even you can specify this if the owner belongs to that user team. You can get all those things listed over here. Okay, so depending on the column type, so owner, then we have another column called as owning business unit. Now here also you can specify which business unit does this owner belongs to. Now we have just one business unit, but if you have multiple business unit, you can specify that in the query as well. So that's it, folks. This is all about condition within fetch XML. Thanks for watching.